Welcome to the People's Podcast, an employer's resource by Group Management Services. I'm your host, Alyse Kimble.
This podcast does not constitute legal or financial advice. Its accuracy, completeness, or adequacy is not guaranteed. Use the information at your own risk. Consult an attorney or financial advisor before taking any action.
Welcome back to the People's Podcast. Today we're talking about something a lot of business owners know they should understand, but often don't until it's too late. Employment Practices Liability Insurance, or EPLI for short. I'm joined today by our Chief Legal Officer, Tom Amato, and our goal is to help small business owners better understand the risks that they face, how EPLI fits into the picture, and what they can do to protect their business and themselves. Tom, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. So let's start pretty simple today. What is EPLI and what is it designed to do?
Okay, EPLI stands for, as you said, Employment Practices Liability Insurance. It is to insure the employers against many different kinds of discriminatory lawsuits that face them in today's workplace, which have become very popular in recent times.
For sure. So we talked about, does EPLI actually help the employer fight claims when they come to the business? So for example, an EEOC claim.
Right, and the insurance policy will cover defense costs and indemnity costs. Defense costs they're twofold. In the administrative level, our in-house counsel, myself and Dave Farkas, our VP of Legal, we prepare statements to the administrative agencies, either the EEOC or any of the many state agencies across the United States. We've presented statements to the Ohio Civil Rights Commission, and I've done it from Florida to Washington out west.
Wow.
So we can do that without being licensed in all those states.
Sure.
If it goes to litigation, that's another issue. If it goes past the administrative level, it'll go into court, and if it goes into court, they need legal representation. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, we're too busy in Ohio to do that for our clients. So we will appoint defense counsel in Ohio and across the country. And we've now partnered with a third party, Great American Insurance Company, and we work hand in hand with them to defend these cases and also pay settlements when warranted.
Gotcha. So we talked about claims coming in specifically from EEOC, but other places as well you mentioned. What would fall under EPLI, as this is something that EPLI would cover for them?
Okay. So it's a pretty broad explanation about what is covered, but as you know, a discrimination claim can be based on race, color, religion, gender, sex, national origin, age, disability, genetic information, and recently these have been so far expanded that it now applies to harassment claims, retaliation claims. So if somebody who's, say, a young white male who doesn't fit in any category, mm-hmm. if he complains that someone else is being discriminated against for whatever reason, and he suffers a negative action, he can file for retaliation. So everyone is covered for any type of negative employment action that they suffer. Then they fit into a category, then we're off to the races. In California, it's been expanded to wrongful employment, wrongful retention. It could be as slight as missing a promotion or not getting a raise. They'll file for those types of things.
Wow.
All it has to do is be based upon a category,
yeah.
Race, religion, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. And discrimination is such a broad term, right?
It is.
Such a broad term. So I think a lot of business owners, maybe listening to this, and you've probably experienced this as well, they think about discrimination, they're like, we never discriminate, right?
Yes.
But how often do those claims come from maybe unintentional or
right.
them just trying to do the right thing for their business?
Correct.
And it kind of backfires on them.
In today's world, it's hard to even imagine that somebody will hire, say, a minority person, mm-hmm. and then a year later discriminate against that person because of their status. It really doesn't happen. So we have cases where, unfortunately, that person fits into a category and they may file a claim when they get fired. They're a lousy employee
Yeah.
and they just do a terrible job and they get terminated. Well, they fit into a category, so they file. The second part is what we call disparate impact. And that's where a company will have a policy that's not discriminatory on its face, but the effect is discriminatory. So if you say you have 7 markers in your company for advancement, and they're on their face, they're non-discriminatory.
Right.
But after 5 years of applying those 7 markers, none of the minorities advanced and everybody else did. Now you have what's called disparate impact. And a person could file a claim that they've been disparately impacted by a policy.
Wow.
The employers have no way of knowing going in, and they just don't think about these things.
Absolutely. I mean, how could you, or how would you?
It's not they're too busy running their business to number one, discriminate against someone just because of these categories, or think about disparate impact.
Yeah.
They're too busy.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about another piece of, I think, discrimination is the retaliation piece of it. And I seem to see in a lot of small businesses that come up quite often. What does that mean, retaliation, and why is that such a kind of a thing that business owners maybe need to understand or know about?
So in our context, if anyone makes a complaint about anybody being discriminated against or something that's unfair, and then they suffer a negative employment action, they can file a retaliatory claim saying that I'm being retaliated against for bringing this to my employer's attention.
Okay.
And we've had cases where one person complains that, hey, Mary's not being treated justly. And then this guy has a negative action, and he files a claim for retaliation. And it's just on and on. It's like a spider web that just branches out. And nobody is safe from this. Nobody.
Yeah, sounds like it. Wow, what a nightmare. You mentioned briefly before, and I wanted to put a pin in it, protected classes kind of vary by state. So you mentioned California specifically, but are there any other states that maybe fall into that category where it's more expanded or more broad than maybe what most states have in place?
The California and the western states, Hawaii, Washington, and Oregon, along with California, have expanded categories. And because of that, our actual EPLI policy has different terms for those states. For instance, the California policy has a $100,000 deductible for our California employers. And that's nothing for them because it could go from $100,000 to $250,000 for those states. So California, the additional classes, things that are recognized are marital status, military status, ancestry, request for leave for family care, for health condition, pregnancy, and retaliation for reporting abuse in tax-supported institutions, whatever that may be. So they've expanded, they're constantly expanding the area of protection for employees who, in my experience, don't do a good job and deserve to be terminated.
Right.
But it just keeps expanding, and
Yeah.
we have to answer them.
Why is that? Like, why do states like California keep expanding on these rights? Do they feel like, are they just more employee focused? Like, what is the reason why we would expand those?
That's a great question. I hate to use the term, but it's more liberal interpretation of the laws
Sure.
and expanding rights. It's just expanding rights. That's all
Gotcha.
there is to it. They want California has a lot of laws that are employee based that all their states don't have.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So can you give me maybe an example of how the same case filed here in Ohio might be different if filed in California?
Okay. Without getting too into the weeds, I had a case 2 years ago. It was based in San Francisco.
Okay.
And picture two men who've known each other since boyhood. One's a CEO and one's a CFO.
Okay.
The CEO has an administrative assistant. The CEO makes a comment about his assistant to the CFO, his boyhood friend, in a text.
Okay.
Well, the CFO was very good friends with the administrative assistant. In fact, he was trying to get romantically involved with her. So he tells her what the other guy said, all right? They actually called us. She called us and said, "I just want to report this. I don't want an investigation. I don't want to make it a formal, but I'm just telling you that it happened." It was a one comment in a text. And we looked at it and we said, okay, we won't investigate. We've recorded it, fine. She quit 3 weeks later because it was so intolerable, because that comment made it so intolerable to work for that man that she quit and she filed a claim. Now, in Ohio, that would have been dripping wet, a $10,000 claim. And we would have said, here's 10 grand, sorry it happened, bye. The demand was $900,000. And the California-based attorneys, defense attorneys, told us that this is a very bad case. We mediated from 11 o'clock a.m. till 9 o'clock p.m. At night, and we settled that case for $350,000. One comment, not even made to her, based on hearsay. There you go. That's California.
Okay. So
Like enough.
I'm kind of getting the gist here. It's just a lot. I think there's a lot more that you, as a business owner in some of these states that are a little more stringent when it comes to these laws. Just, knowing kind of like how to act, how to, kind of mitigate these things.
Recently, we had a client who, I don't know if you want war stories, but recently had a client who became romantically involved with an employee. And
I'm sensing a trend here, Tom.
he did so before they had that employee-employee relationship.
Gotcha. Okay.
Then he hired her. Now what you have is a supervisor and a subservient in a romantic relationship, and that's what we call in the business quid pro quo, and it's strict liability.
Yeah.
Strict.
Yeah.
And he ultimately he terminated her. So here we are. We have a nice lawsuit. He had no idea. Yeah, he thought, there might be something wrong with having a relationship with an employee, but he thought nothing of it.
Right.
I'm beyond that.
Like, I'm not going to get legal ramifications
No, I
of
won't.
this.
I won't do anything wrong until she got herself fired,
Right.
which she should have been.
Yeah.
And but it's too late. It's
Yeah.
too late.
Absolutely. I wish there was like some kind of rule book that we can look at for sure. But that's what having kind of a partner like a
Yeah.
GMS
Correct.
is really going to do for you. So
The rule book is ask your GMS representative
Yeah.
before you terminate anyone.
absolutely.
Yes, and that's in the contract. We try to enforce it. We don't enforce it a lot, but it is there. We want to know
Sure.
before you terminate employees.
Yeah.
Because we can help. We can
Yeah.
help you.
Absolutely. Get ahead of it for sure. I hear all the time that employment claims are on the rise. What is driving that?
My analysis is as follows. I've been a lawyer for quite some time. I don't want to talk about it, but back in the day, personal injury lawyers were making a lot of money, and then states started to put barriers
Okay.
on damages. Okay, and the same happened with then medical malpractice was a big field, and then the PI lawyers went to medical malpractice, and once again, the legislatures put limits on damages for different kinds of medical mal. So now what's left? So all of a sudden, employment practices litigation,
That's where the money is, right?
it's where the money is. And the plaintiff's attorneys can get their fees on top of all the damages. And so it's very fertile ground, that and wage and hour. You know, if you recover 2 cents for somebody who didn't get paid their wages, you recover your attorney's fees. And that's by most statutes in most states.
Yeah.
So those are very popular claims right now.
Yeah. I saw one the other day in I think it was New Jersey, totally put a small business owner out of business because they weren't paying, they were paying once a month, and in that state, they had recently
do
just
that.
changed.
We get it
to-
all the time.
Yeah.
We get it all the time, and they say, we just didn't know.
Yeah.
You know, I have some stats. Zurich Insurance put out for EPLI insurance policies. In 2024, the EEOC took in 88,531 new workplace discrimination charges. That's 15% over the prior year.
It's wild.
So they are on the rise. It's fertile ground for PI attorneys. And to be honest with you, they don't have to do much work to get something out of the claim.
Right.
If there's any smoke at all, where there's fire, if there's any semblance of a claim, they will file. And recently, first I want to say, of the last year we had 55 claims that we took internally and handled. This year we're on a pace for 100. We've got
Double.
We've got 8 each month, January, February.
Wow.
So
So it's not getting any better.
it's not getting any better. And I want to say 99, not to brag, but 99.9% of the claims we get, the EEOC finds no cause.
Gotcha.
And
What are you doing that's different maybe than other companies maybe that don't know or don't have a GMS? What are we doing that's maybe different that helps us win those claims?
well, we
Or
have a
get them
good, we have a
dismissed.
good handbook policy.
Yeah.
We have nice, solid policies against discrimination that we could point to in all these cases.
Yeah.
We have the availability of the HR person, and it says right there, if you're a supervisor, if you can't go to your supervisor, you go to GMS.
Sure.
And so when a person files a claim and they haven't done that, and they claim, well, I had nobody to talk to, we just throw that provision at them.
Yep.
And goes away. So that's one thing we do. And then we also counsel. We take calls, Dave and I take calls, I want to say more than 5 a week on what do we do in this situation. It goes through the HR manager, the HR representative.
Right.
It'll go to the manager, and it comes to us on
There
a
you go.
sticky situation.
Yeah.
And then we help massage it.
Sure.
And say, do this, don't that, don't do that. We write severance agreements. We really push severance agreements for outgoing employees that resolve all claims.
That's great.
So that's a lot that we do, that if an employer's out there by himself, has no idea of how to handle this.
Yeah.
And so we make sure it's all buttoned up,
That's
real nice.
fantastic for business owners
Yes,
to hear.
yes, it's
Because
definitely a benefit.
yeah, navigating this is just terrifying. If I was a business owner, I'd be worried having employees.
When I talked to Mike Kao many years ago, I said, Mike, how about if we have an internal attorney, when I was making my case? And then
When you were selling him.
right, and then I can talk to the clients directly about their situation, and we
Right.
can help them with it. And that's what we've done
Seems to
for
work
many
well.
years. It's worked well.
That's
yes.
wonderful. So, in your opinion, what is the biggest misconception most business owners have about, particularly EPLI?
That they don't need it.
Okay.
That they're not going to do anything wrong, and of course they always need it. We're living in a victim mentality to some extent, and anybody who gets fired, they always look for a reason to make a claim.
Yeah,
And employers don't see that. They don't see that with their employees on the way in.
yeah,
All they see is, can you do the job, and will you be a good employee, and great. And then when they don't do a great job, they have to make a decision, and they just don't see everything that could happen.
the risk.
Right.
Yeah, the risk.
It is risky.
So that's one thing that I really want to touch on too, is because I think a big part, and you mentioned it with how GMS kind of full circle here handles EPLI and these kind of things, is more risk mitigation. So it's kind of getting almost ahead of these things, making sure you have strong handbook policies, making sure you have documentation, making sure you have the support in place. training even for your managers on how to handle, progressive discipline and those
Right.
kind of things. That's all part of a kind of a risk management strategy for businesses. Is there anything else that they should know about in order to help protect themselves if they do get an EPLI claim?
Once they receive an EPLI claim, they have to report it immediately.
Okay.
Because time is of the essence, and they have to have documentation.
Sure.
What you mentioned, you'd be surprised how many cases we get involved in that aren't a case yet, and we talk to our HR person, and we talk about terming the person. Okay, all these ducks are in a row, and then we ask, well, what kind of documentation do we have so far on this person? And there's nothing. There's nothing. They've never been a good employee. How many times you write them up? Oh, I never got around to it. Terrible, terrible, terrible. And we deal with that
The tale as
all
old
the
as time, Tom.
all the time.
For sure. So I think being like, if you're a business owner listening to this, be proactive. Like, look at those things, because I definitely think it's really helpful to even winning these cases.
You have to have clear expectations.
Yeah.
And you have to have good annual or semi-annual reviews. And you don't make a review 5 stars for everything of a troubled employee. Just don't do that to make them feel better. They have to be legitimate, real, factual, and then if that person, can't do the job, then you have to get rid of them. But if you talk to us first,
Yeah.
we'll help you through it.
For sure. So that's kind of tying it all back together. Why does it matter where you get EPLI from? So,
Okay.
for example, a GMS versus the outside market.
Right. So everyone has deductibles. So if you have an outside policy with any other company, you'll have a $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 deductible. And once a claim is made and you turn it over to the insurance company, they will immediately turn it over to outside counsel, who will start burning that deductible as soon as they start working on the case. We work on cases. We do that work for almost free. We charge $125 an hour for our work on an administrative claim.
Okay.
The most we charge is between $750 and $800 or $900. That's 2 hours of work for these attorneys that will be hired by your outside counsel, your third party insurer. So our deductibles are very low.
Yeah.
And we work very, very economically, so that the bill is almost nothing, and you get the same result. So that's a distinct advantage.
That's a win-win.
Yes,
For sure.
win-win. Yes.
Absolutely. And also too, I know from a price standpoint, just coming from the sales side, very, very good price point as well. Where we sell the EPLI coverage at.
Yeah, when the salesmen sell this, they, I'm pretty sure they tell the client, go out and shop it.
For
You
sure.
you can't beat our rates, for sure. There's no beating it.
Absolutely. And that is definitely something that we do tell them
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Perfect. Wrapping it up, if a business owner listening today, Tom, remembers just one thing that you told them, what do you hope it is?
Call us first, please. Get us involved in any termination. It won't take that long, and our HR people can analyze it, and if it's a sticky situation or complex, it'll come up to us and we can analyze it, and then we can do either a severance agreement or talk you off a termination to other disciplinary level. But please consult us before. If you're a client, consult us first. If you want to become a client, it's a great service that we provide. It will keep you from getting sued.
For sure.
Guarantee you.
Absolutely. That is a wonderful place to end. So thank you guys all for joining us today, helping break down this concept in something that really, truly just made more sense. So thank you for doing that
Sure,
today, Tom.
my pleasure.
To our listeners, like Tom said, if you want to learn more about how GMS can help your business against EPLI claims or protect your business in the future, reach out to us at www.groupmgmt.com. That's groupmgmt.com. We'd love to help you. Thank you again, and we'll hope to see you at the next one. Thank you for tuning into the People's Podcast. We hope you found today's discussion helpful. Stay tuned for more insights in our next episode. For more expert guidance and resources on small business management, PEOs, and more, give our podcast a follow. Find us on social media or visit us at groupmanagement.com. That's groupmgmt.com. We're dedicated to helping small businesses everywhere make their operations simpler, safer, and stronger.